Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I want to look at my picks for 2023 and see how I did. So usually if you make your picks before the season starts, you might pick a few players you think are going to perform well and how their card values turned out. Well, my picks are basically decided in, middle of June. So we kind of in the middle of June if my picks were good or bad. So my picks were Ronald Lacuna Jr., Franco, and Jacob deGrom. So the reason I picked those players, if you watch the video, which you can watch after this one, it'll be the video on the end card, you'll see my thought process and why they're probably undervalued heading into the season. Ronald Lacuna Jr., for example, he was injured and he came off of a slow year, so I said he's due for a bounce back. I was lucky and right there. Franco, I said he just is about to put it all together. Once he puts it all together, because he's only 22 years old, he's going to have a really big year, and luckily I was right there. The one where I really missed was Jacob deGrom, and that is because I did say in the video, the only thing about Jacob deGrom is he could get hurt, and that is my only concern. If he stays healthy, he's going to have a good year and his cards will go up, but he could get hurt, and he had his second Tommy John surgery already. So my picks are basically wrapped up, because even if Acuna and Franco slow down and have okay seasons the rest of the year, they're still going to have a 5 to 6 war season regardless, and they potentially both could win MVPs. Acuna's the front runner, and Franco, I saw the MLB pipeline was like third right now, so who knows what'll happen, but overall I'm feeling pretty confident. But what happened to their baseball cards? That was all the stat talk I'm going to talk about. I'm sure there's some people who watch my channel that are saying thank you for not just talking about stats all the time. This is all baseball card and baseball card values for this video. So the very first thing I want to look at is Jacob deGrom. Let's get the bad out first. So if you look, you're going to see this starts at the end of January. I posted this video at the beginning of February. So all my graphs and data was the end of January, which is why I'm starting there and not a different time. The end of January, this card, his 2014 Topps Chrome Update PSA 10 Chrome card, was going for $200. You can see it went up with anticipation of the season, and then he got hurt, and now he has, a torn UCL getting Tommy John. And now this card is down 53%, down $100 from $200 to $93. That's a huge drop. If we look at the gold parallel of his base Topps Update card, it is down 60%. It's down $86 from $145 to $59. And this is in a PSA 9. So overall, you're seeing he's getting slaughtered. I think the thing with deGrom, he really wasn't that expensive heading into the season, and that's because people were already kind of souring on him due to injury issues. He left the Mets. All these things led to cheaper prices, and if he would have stayed healthy, it could have been a good buy. But now we're really potentially missing the Hall of Fame, and I think the odds of him getting there are so slim now at this point. He's, middle to end of his 30s, having a second Tommy John. While his peak was dominant, he doesn't have the longevity, and who knows what'll happen. Hall of Fame voters are kind of crazy nowadays with like peaks and advanced analytics, and I'm sure some people in my comments would agree they're against it and stuff, but that is what it is. You all have your own opinions on the Hall of Fame voting, but I don't think he has enough overall body of work now. And unless he comes back healthy and does the exact same thing he was doing before, I think his cards are in a lot of trouble. And so for that purpose, this was not a good pick, but I couldn't really have predicted injury. Maybe I should have because it's deGrom, but overall, it is what it is. The next one is Ronald Lacuna Jr. This is where it gets interesting with these players. Ronald Lacuna Jr. has been, in my opinion, I wouldn't say the best player because he's not leading the Major League Baseball in WAR. That's Franco, which we'll talk about, at least according to Baseball Reference. WAR plus Ohtani exists. But Ronald Lacuna Jr. has been one of the top 2 or 3 players in Major League Baseball. And we see since January, he is only up 13% on this BGS 9.510 Bowman chromatograph. Obviously, certain subgrades might be a little bit different and yada, 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 but up $163. So he was kind of a risky buy heading into this season because the downside seemed pretty much a larger option than the upside. I believed in the upside, and for that purpose, I said he might be a good purchase. But overall, you can see that his current price is up $200 on this particular card, 13% on the Bowman Chrome 9.5. A PSA 10 is a different situation, but that's because we look at the pop. There's 523 of his BGS 9.5, 130 in the PSA 10, plus PSA 10 just commands a bigger premium. But overall, this card's up 40%, which is $800 of an increase, but that's with a very high sale at the beginning of June. So overall, still not as high as you would have expected from playing as good as he is right now. And let's look at Franco. It gets even more confusing. He's down big time on BGS 9.5s and PSA 10s. PSA 10s are the exact same 26% down $335 from the beginning of February, which doesn't make sense because he's played great this year. And people are just kind of, I think, maybe over him, looking at the new players like Ellie De La Cruz, looking at Corbin Carroll, looking at all these other younger guys. There's always attractiveness to the new toy. And I think Franco's aging out of it. And I think it's crazy that his cards are down. but maybe that's a learning lesson. Even if the player plays good, he's your pick to click, he actually clicks for you, it doesn't always mean the card's going to go up. The market is also down right now, and this just shows with Acuna where he's only up a little bit, where Ronald Franco's actually down. It's tough for non-prospects to really make a large impact in a short sample size in a traditional baseball market where it's outside of the boom or bust like COVID type market we've seen in the last few years. But if we look at someone like Corbin Carroll, here's Corbin Carroll. He's not in Card Ladder, so I couldn't have any fancy graphs or data, but I just took screenshots of sold listings from Card Ladder. So I'm paying attention to this sale and this sale. Just ignore these three in the middle, and then you'll see the top two right here. But you'll see on January 19th, his PSA 10 base Bowman Chrome autograph went for $350, while his PSA 10 base on January 31st went for $380, so about $350 to $400 for that card. Those are now going for $610 to $800. $800 is like the most recent sale, so we'll just say $775 to $800. So that's up big time. That is where a lot of the money is made. It's no secret. We've talked about it on this channel. You're all aware of these cycles with prospects. When they debut, and if they're hot, that is the time to sell. Probably not the time to buy. Carroll could be a exception to the rule just because he's doing so well. And I even discussed in a video this week where I said his rookie cards are an interesting speculation right now because they're not too expensive yet. But his Bowman Chrome autographs, they're really expensive. And compared to like other players in the big leagues, especially because they're high pop in comparison to older players like Arenado and Machado. And I know Corbin Carroll's more exciting right now, and I understand that, but just interesting to see. And we can even look at his orange Bowman Chrome autograph. This is where it does get confusing. So we saw with his base, it went up like 3 times. If you look at the orange and other color parallels, we will see that this was selling on October 4th, 2022 for $7,000. On March 4th, 2023, these are all true oranges, by the way, in BGS 9.5 condition, sold for $8,100. And then we can see on May 4th, it dropped to $75, and now on June 4th, it dropped to $6,500 on auction as he's playing great. I think if it was auction now, maybe it'd be a different situation as speculation's going up. But overall, it is a tough business with trying to time some of these players. It's so tough. And this might not necessarily show the overall total Corbin Carroll market, but it just shows it's not always a slam dunk, even if your uber prospect becomes really, really good. In the long run, could this card go up? Definitely, and it could go up big time. But right now, it's kind of interesting that it's dropped since before he was really the breakout star. He was great last year in his cup of coffee, but this year he's kind of the breakout star. The last player I want to discuss is Elly De La Cruz for the Reds. So let's look at his pricing. In January, he was going for $456, and now he's up to $900. So it makes sense. He's up a ton because he debuted, the prospect hype cycle. PSA 10 is $700 to $1125. Makes sense again, but he is also up. And then we have his Sapphire autograph. Here it is here, and here it is here. It's only up like $400, while his base is going for almost the same as his Sapphire autograph. I would always recommend getting the Sapphire over the base if you are looking to buy one. But overall, again, we're seeing an increase. So it's interesting to see how the market is moving right now. This is why people invest in prospects. This is why people speculate on prospects. And this is why people buy prospects, is because there is a bigger payout, and generally it's relatively predictable if you're able to have a good eye. I don't do it because if I lose money on a prospect, I'm going to be sad. But if I lose money on a cool card I care about, I won't be sad. Of course, I want my cards to go up just like everybody, and I buy cards I think are a good deal hoping they go up and speculate on players. But for a quick turnaround like this, I just thought it was interesting that two of the players who broke out, Acuna and Wander Franco, they haven't really moved. But then we look at someone like deGrom, he's dropped a ton. And so the upside right now in sports cards is very interesting. I just wanted to share my picks, how I was right and wrong, and I want to hear your thoughts on if you think it's even worth buying modern sports cards looking for a short-term, we'll say 12-month flip or less. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.